This is question number 4 on QZ10 for module 14. So this is another question on estimating the share value using the ROPI model. So we are provided with the sales, NOPAT, and NOA for the horizon period. So first part of this question asks us to estimate. Actually, we need to put the terminal period, sales, NOPAT, and NOA. And the assumption here is that assume a 1% terminal period growth rate for all three model inputs, sales, NOPAT, and NOA. Right, so to do that, let me first copy this table to my worksheet. So sales, the new sales should be the current sales 2019 value times 1 plus the growth rate, right? It's 1%. So it's 1%. And then we need to pay attention to the rounding requirement. Round your answers to the nearest dollar. So I need to use the round function and keep 0 decimal place. So now I can just pull the cell down, and Excel will automatically calculate the other inputs, right? The other values, the forecasted value for NOPAT and NOA is also automatically calculated. So then I can just copy the number back. This is this number, and NOPAT is this number, and the NOA is this number. So NA, estimate the value of a share of this common stock using the residual operating income model. Assume a discount rate of 7% common share outstanding of this, net non-operating obligations of this. Remember, this is the negative number. So we need to subtract a negative number later to get the active value, right? Non-controlling interest and is this number. And then rounding required instructions, use rounded answers for subsequent computations and round answers to the nearest whole number unless otherwise noted. Round discount factor to 5 decimal places and the stock price per share to 2 decimal places. So in order to use ROPI model, we just follow this table and calculate each of these variables here. So we start from ROPI, right? ROPI. So ROPI for ROPI, we need to start from 2016 because in order to calculate ROPI, if you check the formula, ROPI equals NOPAT minus the beginning value of NOA times RW. RW is the weighted average cost of capital or discount rate, right? So the beginning balance of NOA is basically the previous year's NOA. So that's why we need the, we can only calculate ROPI starting from 2016. So it's the NOPAT minus the NOA and then times the NOA at 2015 and then times the 7% the discount rate, right, which is directly provided here, the discount rate. So then we need to round this to 0 decimal place, and then drag the cell all the way to the terminal period. And the discount factor basically is equals 1 over 1 plus the discount rate, right, 7%. And then for the first year, I don't need the power, but I will still put the power here because I want to drag the cell after to the right after I got the value for the first year. So it's going to be first year's year number minus 2015. And then I need to round to 5 decimal place. So then I can drag the cell to actually the last horizon period, right? So present value of horizon Horizon ROPI is simply obtained by multiplying ROPI by its corresponding discount factor. And then I need to use the round function again and keep 0 decimal place. So, and then drag the cell to the last horizon period. And cumulative of present value of horizon ROPI is simply the sum of these 4 present values. So then the next one is the present value of terminal, right? Terminal ROPI. This is simply the terminal ROPI and then divided by the discount rate, right? And then minus the terminal period growth rate, which is 1%, right? 1%. So far, this is the present value in terms of the last horizon period, 2019. So I still need to discount this back to the true present, 2015. So there are 4 years difference. So I need to discount this by 4 years back. So the power here should be 4. But here I want to use the round function again because this requires me to round to the whole dollar. So if I sum up these two numbers, basically what I got is the present value of expected ROPI. But in order to calculate the firm value, I also need the NOA number, right? NOA. This is directly copied from the current year's number. So eventually, firm value is obtained by summing up the 3 numbers. And then the next one is NNO and NCI. And once I subtract NNO and NCI from firm value, I got equity value. And then next one is to get shares outstanding. And then once I divide by shares outstanding, I get the price per share. That's our ultimate number we need to get. NNO is directly provided. And remember, this is a negative number, right? So we just put a negative number here. But one thing notice is that here it requires us to not use negative signs with any of your answers below. So when we finally input the numbers from this table back to the MBC, we will only use the absolute value of this NNO and some other, if there are any other negative numbers. So NCI is also directly provided. So this is this number. And equity value is simply the difference between the firm value and NNO and NCI. So shares outstanding is also directly provided, right? The common share outstanding is this one, so just copy the number here. And price per share is basically the equity value divided by shares outstanding. And then I need to round this to 2 decimal place. So we are basically done with the calculation. I guess the rest of the job for this part of the question is simply to copy the numbers back to this table. I've done copying the numbers back to this table, and you can see that I have get rid of the negative sign in front of the NNO number. So just put the positive numbers following the instruction. So final part of this question, the stock closed at $42.13. So our price is higher than the actual price, right? Our estimated value is higher than the actual price. How does your valuation estimate compare with this closing price? Stock prices are a function of many factors. It is impossible to speculate on the reasons for the difference. This obviously is not correct, right? Even though stock prices are a function of many factors, but we can still, based on the numbers, we can still analyze to see which factor might contribute to the difference, right? So our stock price estimate is higher than, and that's correct, indicating that we believe that the stock is slightly undervalued, and this is also correct so far. Stock prices are a function of expected NOPAT and NOA as well as the WACC discount rate, and this is also correct because if you check the ROPI model, fair value, hence the equity value, hence the stock price depends on NOA plus the present value of expected ROPI. And ROPI is further depends on NOPAT, NOA, and the discount rate. And present value also depends on the discount rate. So eventually, the stock price depends on NOPAT, NOA, and the WACC discount rate. Our higher stock price estimate might be due to more optimistic forecast or lower discount rate compared with other investors and analyst model assumptions. This is actually correct, right? If you read other choices, you can see that, for example, this one is first part is correct, but when you read our higher stock price estimate might be due to more pessimistic, and this is not correct. And the final choice is also this part, the last part is not correct. So let's save our answer. I guess we can now finish this. And you can see that all these answers are correct, right? So this means our calculations are correct and our analysis is also correct.